And, well, it's been a while since the folks around here had a guest on a regular episode. I think the last one was Aaron, probably a good year ago. So tell them just what your podcast is about real fast.
Um, Basically, it's about much ado about nothing. Philip calls it the Seinfeld of podcasts because we don't have a specific topic situation. We just do all kinds of different things. If you want to have a conversation, we'd like to talk to you in our living room.
Yeah, it's a Seinfeld podcast for sure. And Aaron is 100% the creamer. So, yes.
Yeah, he does try. My patience.
Well, Lisa, what album did you choose to bring on the show, and why'd you want to bring this one? I'm curious.
Uh, okay, well, the first album I actually ever loved is the Monkees, and I considered the Monkees' greatest hits. But I decided to go with Jim Croce's Photograph
Uh,
of Memories.
your audio just went really low, Lisa. I don't know if something disconnected or not.
I don't know what's going on. Let me know. Is it better?
Nope.
Technical difficulties.
Excuse us, folks. We got audio difficulties here. Got to get that tech in here to
Sorry.
look at the system. Oh, okay. You just came back better, I think.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe something got
There you go.
disconnected.
All right. Yeah,
That's
there you go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it got loose. Um, I
You're,
chose Jim Croce's Photographs and Memories, because it was one of the, I think it was like the third album I ever bought for myself. And I actually bought it at a gas station. And I bought it. Uh, and it also came with, there was another album that I bought. We were having some audio difficulties, but it's resolved. Thank you. Um, I also got a road trip songs from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And that was like 3 cassettes. So, yes, I am aging myself. They were cassettes, and I was able to play them.
well, the fact you could buy music in gas stations that wasn't local people is aging in its own way because in my life, have never seen that. So that's
Yeah.
something. Maybe more.
That's
Maybe it's more.
So it's very Midwestern, I think.
I was gonna say it's got to be a Midwestern thing.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Although you're right, I think it does age me.
I was gonna
Hmm.
say those were the days, man. I miss my
Yeah.
favorite thing of dad being a truck driver and growing up in the front seat of that truck is the one like cool little thing we had was every truck stop we stopped at, whether it was for gas, food, whatever, I got to pick like one cassette or one record to buy.
Oh, cool.
Because truck stops were the same way. They had, you know,
Yeah.
records, cassettes,
And
and
I think truck stops, the bigger truck stops like Pilot and Wadwa maybe, do still have um, a music section for the, but I think they're cassettes now.
yeah, I haven't seen any music at truck stops for years, but
Okay.
you know.
I I really don't spend a lot of time at truck stops
I
Yeah.
still do.
Well,
anymore.
aha. Well, I was waiting for that. But CJ, what did you think of Lisa's album before I get into it?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. As second I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I know this record." I listened to it. I
Yeah.
grew up with these songs. They
Mhm.
were not only songs I grew up with, but family weddings, family gatherings. There's at least 4 songs
Mm-hmm.
on this record that were always
Every
played at
event.
weddings, receptions, uh, family picnics, whatever. So,
Mhm.
um, it was one of them things that was just kind of like, yeah, you know,
It's a little warm in
so
here.
Well, and are you a fan of Jim Crochet or no?
Yes,
CJ.
huge fan.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
but
being a fan of Jim Croce does not is not an indicator of age, in my opinion.
No, that's what I was going to get into when well, now I guess. I didn't know the man by name. I will say that I did not recognize his name. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. And then as soon as I started listening to the album today, I was like, I know his work though. Apparently, I don't know him by name, but I do know his work because a lot of these songs have been in countless movies and TV shows and
yeah,
commercials and other things. So I'm like, I know this man's work, and I'm like, I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm like, all right, I definitely don't mind this. This is, I mean, it's for '70s. There's a lot worse things you could pick in that year. Trust me. I looked at all the albums that came out in that year, and I was like, yeah. So yeah, I overall enjoyed it. It was at least now I know the guy behind all these songs, and I mean he is not a good looking man. I'll tell you that much though. But oh my
No,
god,
no, no. He was not a
yeah,
pretty one.
yeah.
I mean he makes Weird Al look pants like better even. But and you're welcome Weird Al. But yeah, I mean it's just
Hey,
yeah he could sing. He could sing. He could sing. I'll give him that. He could definitely sing. He has a good
yeah.
voice.
And he wrote every single one of his songs.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that because it seems like type songs that someone like him would write. But
I say Jim ranked up there with like Dan Fogelberg and Gordon Lightfoot when it come to writing, you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
songs that they walked a very fine line between being ballads and being,
I'd say they're
fun
like
stuff.
folk and ballads and
Yeah.
almost not quite pop
Yeah,
in a sense. I mean, some of it is just downright almost pop, and there's funkiness to it. He
right.
just
Yeah.
he was. I personally think of him as a modern genius.
I mean,
Yeah.
the closest artist I can actually describe him to that I've listened to is Leonard Cohen.
Mm.
He has like he has similarities with him in a way. I mean, definitely is a different style of singing, but he has similarities in
Gordon
a way.
Lightfoot and him are very similar.
Mhm.
I actually do. I think I made a Gordon Lightfoot bracket. I'm not sure. I honestly can't remember at this point all the ones I made, but I think I made one for him. I know I didn't make one for Jim Croce, but maybe I'll revisit that in the future.
Well,
But
I mean, he really doesn't have that much of a catalog because he died fairly young.
Mhm.
uh, really, because you looked old in that on that album cover.
I
But
know.
He died in
He
his early
didn't.
40s.
I mean, I'm sorry. What's that, CJ?
He died in his early 40s.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. He looked about early 40s in that album cover. So
I guess now that I'm 58, he seems young.
yeah.
Let's put it
Uh,
that way. Hmm.
well, I mean, I would be getting close to my death if I died around the same age. So yeah, I definitely makes you
Yeah.
feel a little older. But
Yeah.
this is what I'm dying to hear here is what are your top 5 songs off the album, Lisa?
Okay. Well, number one would have to be Time in a Bottle. It just hits you in the heart. I mean, he's talking about his lost love and how he wants to save all of his time at the end. And of course, the irony being that he was the one that left early. So,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is really, really touching in that respect. Now, the next one is Operator. I love the story. I love Operator. I think it's such a good song. Okay. But the story behind Operator is fascinating. He was in line at, uh, basically, the story behind Operator was told to him in a sense. He was in line at the payphone while he was in the armed services, and a young man ahead of him said the opening line, uh trying to say that he wanted to talk to his ex, and she was living in California with her new boyfriend, and that was kind of the impetus for that song. So, and plus, I mean, they're just such beautifully written songs. The music, the words, it's just perfection for me. Now, my third choice is I'll have to say I love you in a song because I think it's sweet. And also, he was famously had difficulty expressing himself emotionally. So it's his love song to his wife. Then there is uh I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading. Oh, Don't Mess Around with Jim. I like Don't Mess Around with Jim because I feel like it was an idealistic anti-biographical song. It's almost it's very similar to Bad Bad Leroy Brown,
Mm-hmm.
but but it specifically mentions him, and I have to wonder if maybe one didn't inform the other.
Mm.
And that's why I chose it over Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Then my my fifth choice is Working at the Car Wash Blues because it's just fun. And on this
Yeah.
album, it was like the next funnest song. And I didn't want to include Bad Bad Leroy Brown and Don't Mess Around with Jim in the top five. But I mean, all of the songs on the album could have really been in my top six. Out
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
10 songs on the album.
I could see that. I could see that. I mean,
Mhm.
I had that problem with a lot of the albums today. But CJ, what were your top five for Jim?
I had number one, You Don't Mess with Jim. Um, that's a song that my dad's wedding, my uncle's wedding. I can't think of a wedding that I went to as a kid that song didn't get played at least two to three times. Because I come from a family of people who love to fight, so there were always fights at the family wedding. So it was
Mhm.
it was it was almost walkout music kind of. um, Time in the Bottle is number two.
Yeah.
They played that at my grandma's funeral, and
Mm.
you know she was a big fan of that song. Third one is I'll Have to Say I Love You in a Song. That's one of my personal favorites. Um, it's a great song. Number four is Roller Derby Queen. Uh, just a fun song. It's kind of a goofy song, but and my fifth one is I've Got a Name. Um,
Mhm.
it's one of them songs that's kind of poignant, and it's basically saying, even though you don't know me, I have a name. So it's almost a creeper song, really. But
Yeah.
Mm.
and then honorable mentions, I had Rapid Roy and These Dreams. So
Ah,
so yeah, that
okay.
was
Well,
ahead.
that means I'm now down to one on my top five that nobody else mentioned, which I'm happy I saw that because I wanted to have at least one song nobody else mentions. It's always a goal. Uh, Number one was Time in a Bottle, of course. It reminds me of so many TV scenes and movie scenes. Number two was number two was I Got a Name because I Got a Name is a fun fucking song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, Number three, this is the one nobody else picked, but New York's not my home. I'm from New York, so the fact that I haven't lived there in a decade, but I'm from New York, and that song hit me really hard. I'm like, I mean, I'm not from the city, which is what he's talking about, and I lived there a lot more than a freaking day, but still, really good song. Number four is Bad Bad Leroy Brown because I always knew the name of that song, but I don't think I ever actually heard it, or maybe I did, and I just didn't realize it. But it is an amazing song. And then, number five was You Don't Mess Around with Jim. That's a fun freaking song too. And you're right. It's almost like Bad Bad Leroy Brown Part Two. But
Yeah.
uh, my honorable mention, I had one honorable mention, and that's Rapid Roy, the Stock Car Boy, because it's almost in the same light as the other two. Like it's a fast paced, fun song about a certain character, which I feel I feel like he did a lot of that. But I don't know. I haven't heard his other stuff, so I couldn't tell you. But
I will
I'm
say
a,
that my honorable mention would have to be Photographs and Memories. Um, you know, I recently found out that my brother has a fairly serious illness, and I don't know how to help him. So, you know.
That's
yeah,
the
I get
worst feeling.
that. It's horrible. Uh, well, DJ, what album did you want to bring?
Bring it down, Lisa.
Oh, you doing mine? I thought we'd do yours
Oh
first.
yeah,
I brought
there's a reason I'm doing
a
yours
record.
first, but we'll get to that.
I bought a record that was one of the records we listened to in the truck quite a bit. There were two people that my dad very, very touchy about. Number one, Bob Seger. He will physically fight you over Bob Seger. I mean that in the literal sense. If you were to walk up to my dad and say, Bob Seger is an asshole, my dad will draw back and smack the fuck out of you. Like, I mean, the other one is the Doobie Brothers.
Okay.
So the record I chose is What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. And one of them records that it has a lot of elements. It's a little bit Southern rock, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. It was before the Michael McDonald era, when Ron Johnston and the other guy were still the main singers. And it was right before Skunk left to be a NASA rocket scientist. So, yeah, it's the record I love. And I waffled a little bit because I went between this one and Caribou by Elton John. I couldn't decide
Which I would have told. We've actually done a couple 74 episodes in the past, and I would have told you, nah, I brought Caribou not that long ago. Actually, it was one of Jamie's episodes, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, see,
But
I normally just pick like something new, but I saw you both did something from 74, so I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can find something from 74. And my first thought was I knew what I wanted, but it wasn't from 74, so I was like, okay, let me see if I can find something else. Yeah, this is what we got. Doobie Brothers.
well, with anything that's if the guest brings anything that's not in the last like 10 years, then I usually try to stick to that year if I can, because it gives like a more of a area to grab from, and it's kind of cool to see like 3 albums from that year and how they compare. But Lisa, what did you think of CJ's album?
I'm not 100% sure I had the right album.
Doobie Brothers?
I listen to Doobie Brothers, but my five tops are Blackwater, Down the Crack, In the Track, Eyes of Silver, Another Park, Another Sunday. Are those
That's the right album.
album?
Yeah.
Okay, then I did have the right album. I was like,
You
wait a
did.
minute, that doesn't sound like the same title.
Yeah.
But I think I got close enough when I looked it up.
Yeah,
it's a confusing thing because if you look at the cover, it's a live shot. So you think it's a live record, but it's not actually a live record. It was kind of weird of them to use a picture of them playing live for a record that wasn't a live record. So
Yeah.
So what you think of the album, Lisa? Because Phil said something to me earlier about it. So
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I think that what he said about earlier was about Blue Oyster Cult. If
no,
we're talking about the
said,
same thing.
Phil said Doobie Brothers to me, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure.
Well, I don't know.
Because he asked me he asked me who brought the Doobie Brothers album. So
Oh, you know what? He might have confused my words. He's been known to do that.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, 'cause, the second song on Blue Oyster Cult. There was a There's a when we get to there's a major theme of S&M on this album. Let's just put it
Oh,
out.
okay. Oh, God, yeah.
There's a
God, yeah.
major theme of S&M on all Blue Oyster Cult records.
Yes, yes. They like their leather behind closed doors. I'm pretty sure, but we'll get to that. We'll get to them in a minute.
You think they
But
made it had chains and cuffs on tour?
possibly. But see, when CJ went, it's funny because when I was looking at albums from '74 to bring, your album CJ is actually one of the ones I looked at that I was actually considering. It was going to be that the album I did bring, or it was going to be Kiss's debut album,
Okay.
which
Wow,
I was.
that's yeah.
Yeah, I was. Kiss actually had 2 releases that year, but the second album I wouldn't have brought because I don't recognize one damn song on it. But the first album had 2 of my favorite songs by them on, so I was gonna bring it, but I was like, eh. But then I saw the album CJ brought, and it's funny because my dad had 3 favorite bands when I was growing up, and one of them was Styx, one of them was Doobie Brothers, and the other one we'll talk about in a little bit. But so my dad loved the Doobie Brothers, and even in his band he was in, he was the drummer, but he always sang "Trying to Grow" because he had the only one that could do the voice for it. So, and it's funny enough that "Listen to the Music" is the theme song for this show. So, because it kind of goes in line with what the show is. So, Doobie Brothers are been a fan for a big time. So I was not disappointed by this album. I never heard it in full, so I 100% was down to hear it in full, and didn't disappoint one bit. The end got a little weak. I'll say that the end of the album got a little weak for me. It got soft and slow, and I was like, yeah, what the fuck. I'm like, I was grooving, and it's all this shit. Like, but whatever. I can't complain.
Doobies had a habit of that on a lot of records where they would start really strong and kind of, they would do like 12 or 13 or 14 songs when like 10 or 11 would have sufficed because the last ones would they sort of ran out of steam on them,
Almost like filler.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, the Coke ran out, but
it might have,
or the weed wore off, whatever. I don't know what their vices were that became habits, but
well, Skunk was a rocket scientist who left the band to join NASA, and eventually was one of the guys who created email. So, he created the first. He created the first working email system for NASA for computers to trade messages by a computer. So
now I know who to curse sometimes.
Yes. Well, CJ, what were your top 5 on your album?
Let me see. Honorable mention is "Song to See You Through." Number 5 was "Another Park, Another Sunday," because it really was kind of the story of what we did at that time. We had a certain number of hours to drive per week. Normally, by Sunday, we were out of hours. So Sunday was just the day that we went and did whatever. So we were parked. So it was another park, another Sunday. And,
very alliterative.
And it's literally what the song is about. It's just, driving on Sunday, being on the road. Blackwater is number 4. Spirit is number 3. Pursuit on 53rd Street is my number 2. But my number 1 for this record is Down in the Track. I grew up with a lot of race car drivers, quarter mile drag racers, and it was a song that all of my uncles loved and would play. I'd hear it all the time on the way to the racetrack. So that was one of the main reasons I chose this record, is that song. That and Blackwater. Everybody knows Blackwater. So
Indeed. Well, Lisa, what were your top 5 on CJ's album?
Blackwater is my number 1. Down in the Track. As he said, who doesn't like Blackwater? Okay, yeah. Down in the Track. Eyes of Silver. I like the beat. The horns were nice and well done. I know it talks about avarice, but I'm okay with that. I didn't love the ending. Let's see. Another park, another Sunday. Soothing music, good prose. Definitely fit a Sunday afternoon. Number 5. I suppose I should put my glasses on. That would make this a little easier.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 5, tell me what you want and I'll give you what you need. I was actually kind of expecting that based on the title to be sexist, but it is not. So that was a nice surprise. And my honorable mention is Songs to See You Through.
Seems to be a trend here. I had no honorable mentions on this one, but my number 5 was "Song See You Through" because that was a really good song. Number 4 was "Down the Track." That was like a fun, fast-paced song, so I enjoyed the hell out of that. Same with number 3. My number 3, "Eyes of Silver." That was a really, really good song. All the instruments in that song were beyond belief good. And my number 2 was "Pursuit on 53rd Street" because I'm pretty sure I've heard that one before, but I'm not positive. My dad must have not listened to this album like ever. He had I know so many of their songs, and none of them are on this album. I was like a little surprised, except my number 1, which
I think "Pursuit on 53rd Street," if I remember correctly, when Kenny Rogers did the Stoker Ace movie, I think it was in that movie. So you might have saw it as a kid. Just
never heard of that movie. Never heard of it.
It's a movie Kenny Rogers did. It was sort of like Days of Thunder before Days of Thunder.
Oh no,
it was a stop.
If you like racing movies.
Nobody in my family would ever watch that movie. I'm pretty sure, like as a first choice. So, I don't know. I'm not one person in my family that's into racing. So, but yeah, my number 1 is a song everybody knows, and that's "Blackwater." I couldn't have told you it was Doobie Brothers for today, but I knew the song at least. So, but "Blackwater" was a really good song. I enjoyed the hell of it. Goddamn cricket! Did I get that fucker? Oh nope, jumping the other way. Holy shit, it's got a leak. Holy fuck. That thing's on crack. Got you, fucker. Damn, cricket was on crack. I swear to God. Sorry, Jiminy, but you did. Well, now that I just killed a harmless creature of God's, it's time to go to my album, I guess. Yeah, as I said, when Lisa gave us Jim's album, I was like, 74. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I never heard of this guy. I do not know what I would bring against him by any means. So I'm like, what can I bring? Looking through the whole list for 74.
You definitely went in a different direction.
Not. I mean, I was like 74 classic rock. Okay, here we go. That's all I was thinking because all the rock back then is classic rock technically nowadays. But I'm looking through the list, and I could have brought Kiss. I could have brought CJ's album and a couple others I would have brought. But I was like, I've been kind of on a mission when the years come up to bring, if there's a Blue Oyster Cult album, I want to bring that album. And I mean, I'm going to say right off the bat, I definitely was a lot better last time when I brought Spectres. I was a lot more happy with that choice. But I saw this album, and I'm looking at the track list for it, and I'm like, 2 of my fucking favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs are on this album. I'm like, okay, let's bring Secret Trees, because why the hell not? It's a freaking amazing. It's got 2 of the best songs they ever did on it. So I will gladly freaking bring it. And I wasn't disappointed. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. The whole album was pretty fire. It didn't have any slowdowns really like Doobie Brothers did. So or Jim. So I kind of like that fact. And it's all the songs I didn't know. I got a bunch of songs of those I now love. So yeah, it definitely not disappointed I brought it. Happy I got it done, and it's out of the way. And there's other Blue Oyster Cult albums to bring eventually. But what do you think about album, Lisa?
I found it interesting. Definitely has a bit of an S&M theme, as we've mentioned already. Apparently, it's a common theme with Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster Cult has a very it's right in their
Okay.
name. They have a very culty feel to them. Like a lot of what they sing about is very. It's all about spiritualism and aliens and like gods, and it's like very culty. Like they have a right. It's right in the name for a reason, and they stuck to it. They're culty. I never thought of it that way till today, but it's actually the best way to describe
Yeah,
it.
really. And I mean, you have to kind of wonder if it was actually how they were, or if it was maybe somewhat marketing.
Possibly, but I have a
Yeah.
feeling it's just who they were because like you
This
can hear it in
the
all their.
singer has an obsession with. The singer would be a great guest for your other show because he has an obsession with like Bigfoot, aliens, cryptids, that kind of stuff.
Oh well, there you go.
Ah,
Maybe you can get
So
him.
if I could find a way to reach out to him, trust me, I would get him. But
yeah,
in this day and age, there's got to be a way. So I'll try. I'll see what I can do. It'd be my dream to have the fucking lead singer of Ballistical on my show, on any of my shows. So hell, I'll get him on this show too if I get him on that show. But
Well, Lindley from or LD from Rock and Roll Heaven podcast, she knows she's 3 degrees of separation from almost everyone. If she hasn't worked with them, she's been to their concert. So, and she will go backstage in a hot minute. So we'll see if I'll see if maybe she might be
see,
interested in.
see if you know some. Hey, I've been trying to get either of them from Rock and Roll Heaven on here since for years now. So I thought Theo was my way. I thought Theo was my way in, but apparently not.
She's yeah. They're just really, really, really super busy.
I
I
figure.
mean,
I mean, I
they
never
are
reached out to them directly, but
they're doing the podcast almost full time, plus they're doing their jobs full time, and they do more than like 40 hours a week because they're in the artist industry.
yeah, of
So
course.
you have to work when you have the job.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I also never reached out to them directly. I always just try to get Thea to tell them like I want to get them on the show, but it never happened. So maybe someday they'll get on the show eventually. But well, and well, anything else? Anything else you want to say about Lisa before I pass it to Mike CJ?
Oh, did I list my top five?
Oh
No.
no, but that's
Okay.
in a minute. We do that in a minute.
Okay.
But I'm glad to hear what CJ thought of this album first.
um,
Okay.
Blue Oyster Cult is a band that I sort of have a weird thing with. I don't love them. I don't hate them. I have noticed very much with their songs. I either really like the song or I really hate the song. I've never heard a Blue Oyster Cult song that I hear it and I'm like, that one's okay. It's like either really, really good or, yeah, I don't ever want to hear that one again. There's not like a middle ground with them. And it's been that way with them for example, I can't stand Don't Fear the Reaper. That song just drives me fucking crazy.
It's overplayed. Overplayed.
Yeah, that cowbell thing they did on Saturday Night Live with it.
More cowbell.
That makes it even
Oh,
fucking
that's
worse.
Philip's favorite SNL skit. Do not put down cowbell.
But on the other hand, Godzilla, I love Godzilla. So I mean, they're one of those bands that very hit or miss for me.
I get that.
I'm not going to say I don't like them. I do. I respect what they do. They're still around to this day. They're still touring. They're still, very successful. And that in and of itself, I mean, hey, here's a band who put their first record out in 1968. So they're pushing 60 fucking years as a band. That's pretty crazy.
56 years.
So like I said, I didn't hate your choice. I knew it was going to be, it wasn't one I was familiar with. I knew a couple of the songs. So I knew going into it, I'm probably going to love half this record and hate half this record. And as it turned out, there were 4 songs that I loved and 4 songs that I never want to hear again. So I was dead on with it. So,
Yeah, I mean, they are very. I mean, their fans are culty too. Like that's how they lasted so long. Is their fans never stopped being their fans, and they just got more and more fans as time went on. Because I mean, "Don't Fear the Reaper" sealed their place in history anyway, and everybody's heard that song 1,000 times in their life. Just watch, just watch Supernatural a couple times through, and you'll hear it more than you ever want to hear in your life. But uh I had two honorable mentions for this album. There was actually like only one track I really didn't like. Uh, First honorable mention was "Dominance and Submission." Not something I'm into, but I mean, the guitar work on that song was excellent, so I'm not going to hate the song because of the topic. And I listen to a lot of songs about that shit for some reason, even though I'm not into it. So, it is what it is. But it's metal. But my number six was my last one I'll mention was "Career of Evil." That was a fun song. That's a classic, like almost '80s metal song in a way. So, I mean, I could easily see like freaking Anthrax or Priest doing that song too. So, my number five was "Subhuman." And these are all songs I never heard till today. But "Subhuman," that guitar riff in "Subhuman" is fucking phenomenal, and it definitely has the same theme as like Tracy Chapman's "Sub City" or David Bowie's "Subhumanoid" or whatever the hell it is. I forget the hell the name of the song is, but very similar sign. But it has that theme that I like in songs about like the lesser classes.
Mm.
My number four was ME262, which I usually don't like anything like songs. I don't like songs about military shit usually, but the guitar play in that song is so catchy. I could not like. I'm like, this has to be on the list. It's a freaking amazing song. Even if the lyrics can get a little boring. But my number three was my biggest surprise, though. I never heard of this song, and it's fucking phenomenal, and that's "Harvester of Eyes." Like, I'm getting like Jeepers Creepers vibes listening to a Blue Oyster Cult song, and I'm like, this is new. I'm like, I like this feeling. I'll take it. Like I like that they went in the horror genre a little bit. It's a predecessor to a lot of stuff nowadays. My number two and number one though go together. They go together because they're meant to go together. And my number two is "Astronomy" because I love "Astronomy." It's been one of my favorite songs since I had their greatest hits in college. And I mean, it's not my favorite for a reason because it's not as good as the other one. But the last minute of it is just pure fire when the guitars, drums, and keyboards go full force in the last minute of it, and they do the whole like astronomy, like that shit's like that song is so. When you're driving down a dark road in the middle of the night, that song kind of like just hits right. It's trippy. It's really trippy. And I never knew these two songs went together on the album, but it makes sense they do because they go right into each other. But my number one is "Flaming Telepaths" because that has always been in my top five Blue Oyster Cult songs of all time. Because the guitar and keyboard combo throughout the whole song is incredible, and it's classic freaking Blue Oyster Cult. Like it sounds like Blue Oyster Cult. No other band could do that song perfectly like they did. And plus, those two songs together kind of set the bar for the future of symphonic metal. Like to become like Blue Oyster Cult Sticks set a lot of predecessors and got people into something that would become huge in the 2000s to now. So a lot of the bands me and CJ love wouldn't exist if it wasn't for bands like Blue Oyster Cult and Sticks. So you gotta give them credit where it's due. Though I will say, because I forgot to say it, that I found it hilarious that this album opens like it opens like it's in the middle of a song. Like I was actually had to go check. I'm like, is this the beginning of the song? It sounds like it's like the middle of a song right now.
I had to
Like this.
keep double checking.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't think it opened that way. What song is that? Oh yeah, "Career of Evil." Like they just go right into it. Like there's no like slow intro or like even a couple like drum hits or anything. It's just right into it. Like, oh shit. I'm like, that's the way to start an album. But what were your top five songs, Lisa?
Well, okay. You were freaking me out a little bit there. My honorable mention number 6 is "Career of Evil." Wait for it. My number 5, "Subhuman." My number 4, "Me262." Now we do vary here. I had "Astronomy" as my number 3. "Born to Be Wild" is my number 2, and
like that.
"Harvester of Eyes" was my favorite because I do enjoy a peppy murder song.
Oh yeah. Oh. it almost has that same peppiness of like Nature Trail from Hell in 3D. It almost has that same peppiness as like that horror song. So I kind of got that vibe from it. But
Potentially sliding it into like Little Shop of Horrors a little bit. Just a
yeah,
little.
definitely.
Yeah, there's not it's not completely unreminiscent. I could see it in a Broadway show for sure.
Yeah, I'm Born to Be Wild. I couldn't get into though. That's the one song I couldn't get into. I just wasn't a fan of it. And by the time I realized that it was over, so I was like, all right, that can stay off the list. But
There's a
you didn't like
nostalgia
Flaming.
for me.
You didn't like Flaming Telepaths though. Like I'm amazed.
That's actually my number 7. So
Ah, still like that's low for that. That's such a good song. But CJ.
you gotta
Oh,
remember I'm more lyric driven.
oh yeah, I get
And
that. I mean,
yeah, it's got some driving guitar that just isn't my cup of tea.
okay, I can respect that.
Not my favorite.
But yeah, well, CJ, what were your top 5? I'm dying to hear which 4 songs you loved.
Number 4, I had Astronomy. That one came just under the wire. I like the ending more towards the end more than the beginning.
Yeah, that last minute. Yeah.
Number 3 is Harvester of Ice. Number 2 is ME 262. And number 1 is Flaming Telepaths.
There we go. I knew it was coming.
That was those. ME 262 has the better guitar riff. Flaming Telepaths has the better overall kind of concept. But as far as guitar riffs go, 262 is probably one of the better guitar riffs that Blue Oyster Cult has done in their career. So, and I thought, that was going to be my number 1, and then I realized that I did know Flaming Telepaths, and was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that one. So,
yeah, I mean, they're not big on instruments. Their lyrics are usually more important to them, and that's what they usually focus on. They want people to hear what they're saying. I mean, and they like to do really weird songs like Godzilla and that song about Joan Crawford they did. It's that Joan Crawford songs used to freak me the fuck out as a kid. All about her coming back to life and shit. Like it's fucking creepy as shit. But well, there you go, folks. Another week, another. Oh,
Flaming Telepaths reminded me of our recent Led Zeppelin forays.
I mean, it's reminiscent of. It's more symphonic than Zeppelin ever gets. I would say Zeppelin is. Zeppelin. It's all
driving guitar in that.
Yeah, Zeppelin's all about Jimmy Page more than anything, and Bonham, the drummer. I mean, it's more about them than and Plant singing. Then they rarely let the keyboard player do much. Like that's something I noticed with Zeppelin. So, but if it wasn't for Zeppelin, Blue Oyster Cult probably never would have existed either. So, I mean, it's all pathways into the future of music. That's all it is. Zeppelin had to lead. Zeppelin led to Cult, and Cult led to a lot of other bands nowadays. But they kept adding more and more into it. But there you go, folks. We brought you 3 albums for the week. Lisa, tell them where they can find your guys' podcasts.
You can find us at Pod on all the socials you can think of.
And we want to thank Lisa for coming on because it's been a phenomenally fun show with her, and she's welcome back anytime. Oh, you're welcome back anytime you want to come on. Same as every other member of Yaha. We haven't had Phil. Actually, we haven't had Phil on in a long, long time. So definitely we'll be bringing Phil on some point soon, hopefully. But Aaron, we can always bring on again too. He's got funky music taste.
Yeah, he's got real busy in the last year, so
he has. Yeah. But CJ, where can they find you?
You can find me anywhere. Just type in Music God CJ Plain. MusicGodCJPlain.rocks is the website. Hasn't been updated in a while. I keep meaning to get to it, but kids, mom, school, life
Yeah.
kind of says, you know,
Oh, I get it.
30
I
hours
get
worth
it
of work.
100%.
Yeah, 30 hours worth of work and only 24 hours to do it. So
Yeah, right.
I'm doing my best, but yeah, just type in what you see on the screen and you'll find my ugly ass pretty much everywhere. And I thought my PR person dealt with him, but apparently she has everyone other than him. She has Steve Hackett, General Giant, Jethro Tull, Yes, Billy Morrison, The Temptations, The Four Tops, John Lodge, Bill Bruford, and Tony K. So I thought she had the right call, but anywho.
Well, folks, you can find where to find both your musers. Facebook is Squatchy Largefoot. On Twitter and the Gram, it's at Juggler Bastard. And of course, best place as always is YouTube. Maniacal Music Musings. Just search that and you'll find all 125 plus episodes at this point. So plus all the specials. But come back next week. I forget what our guest is exactly, but she'll be here and we're looking forward to having her. And I'll find out soon what album she's bringing. So we'll see you next week, folks. And you can be as surprised as I'm going to be tomorrow. So have a good one.